What's up, family? It's your boy Twan D, the student. We are back again with another episode of Fans Know the Game 2. This is our sister channel to Mud TV, where we just talk sports. Well, mainly basketball. So listen, family, welcome back to another NBA season. Apologize about last week. We did try to get an episode out to you, but we had some technical difficulties. But we think we actually figured it out. With that being said, again, I'm your boy Twan D, the student. This is my sidekick, my player partner.
What's happening? This is your dude, Garland Green, one half of the world-famous Mudslingers, the other half of Fans of the Game 2,
Y'all.
the curator of the Lowdown, Mr.
Y'all.
This is a Lakers page. What's happening is going down.
Y'all, yeah, man. And so we back, man. Quick episode, Fans of the Game 2. We're going to run down week 2 of the NBA. We got the power rankings. We have Eastern Conference and Western Conference Players of the Week, so we're going to run down that. And obviously, we Laker fans, so we're going to talk about our recent play and the things that we see. So let's jump into it, man. We back into it, man. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good, bro. One interesting fact that I found out, you have to fact check me on this. Is Austin Reeves Big Country Reeves' son?
That's a good question.
I saw that today. That's his pops. Big Country. You know what I mean? That would make a lot of sense. So if that is true, shout out to Big Country. You know, he used to give Shaq fits back when Shaq was a Laker.
Per Shaq.
Per Shaq, right? I'm feeling good, man. Everything is good. The Lakers have won a couple games. We won last night. I'm feeling good. How about you, my Jeezy?
I'm feeling good, feeling great. You know, NBA season is back.
In full swing.
In full swing. And let's get into it, man. Let's talk about the players of the week.
Players of the week.
Players of the week.
Who is the player of the week for the Western Conference?
Western Conference, we got Rudy Gobert.
Whoa.
He averaged 16.3 points, 15.5 rebounds, 2.3 blocks, and Utah was 3-1 in that time frame, only losing to Chicago.
Currently 5-1 right now.
Jimmy Butler.
For the Eastern Conference?
For the Eastern Conference.
Of course.
28 points a game, 8 rebounds, 3.3 steals a game, and Miami is undefeated within them 4 games.
Yeah, they've only lost 1 game as well. The Heat are looking like world beaters right now. You said they were your dark horse. They're coming out the gates like gangbusters. I have a couple other cliches I'm going to use, but I'm not going to use them right now. I'm going to go ahead and swing it to you on this.
Yeah, man. So, I mean, things are panning out kind of what I saw. We have, you know, some teams off to a slow start, like your Milwaukee's, obviously us. You know, before the other night, Brooklyn was almost about to be 3-4, so they're teetering like we're teetering. So you know, Phoenix Suns. So yeah, you know, there's you know, obviously, you know, James is not playing how he. I mean, obviously outside of the other night and last night, but James getting off to a slow start. Devin Booker, Damian Lillard. So I don't know if that's because of the rule change. I know Damian Lillard had an injury, you know, during the Olympics. Obviously, James Harden is trying to depict this on a rule change, but bro, you don't put in no work. We saw what you did all summer. You was with LaBaby in Paris.
Put out a mixtape with him and Drake.
Weed. You know what I'm saying? So, and I think Phoenix and Milwaukee, I think is more of a finals high over. You know, hell, Ayton's extension could also, you know, not getting an extension. That could also play a intangible factor. But yeah, I mean, so far right now, we're seeing some uncanny teams with some good records. Chicago is definitely a team I'm looking to be this year's New York Knicks.
Crazy.
Solid, consistent team all year, and, you know, have a solid seed. And when they get to the playoffs, you know, they get bounced first, maybe second round. So, with that being said, before we get into the rankings, man, give your rundown.
I'm just saying though, it's early in the season. With Chicago, they had a weak schedule. They're benefiting off of that. I like how the team.
Maybe that's why they're ranked so low.
It was inevitable. I saw it from the beginning. I knew that they were supposed to come out and start great. They would have beat the New York Knicks, in my opinion, if Zach LaVine wasn't hurt. That's a good seed. With Brooklyn, man, I've just kind of figured out what's going on. Everybody's just coming back from the snap when Thanos snapped his finger. So they're just getting their talent back and everything, because like the Trae Youngs and the Dame Lillards and everybody are starting off slow. Shout out to Big Face Coffee, Jimmy Butler for doing his thing down in Miami. Kyle Lowry has definitely been a spark plug in that engine. Tyler Hero has come back with a vengeance. He's had some big games coming off. 31 his first game, 27 his second. He said he belongs in that conversation with Luka, Trae, and the rest, so he's trying to prove that point. Miami, again, is a good defensive team. They're your dark horse again. So we can never count them out. When you have a Pat Riley built team and Jimmy Butler, just the heart of Jimmy Butler matched with P.J. Tucker now, and also Kyle Lowry and Bam having fun. It's a tough team, right? I still can't count out Philly. You can never count out Philly with Joel Embiid, especially in the East.
I think he just had an MRI on his knee, but they said everything's good.
He's gonna be all right. He's gonna ball out. He's gonna do his thing. Philly's still out there. They got shooters. They still got Tobias. They still got Seth. They still got Danny Green. They still got Matthias Thybulle. So they still got a good squad out there, minus Ben, who's trying to work his way back into things. You know what it is. When I see teams like Washington, I kind of think it's fool's gold.
Yeah, I think it's some fool's gold going on right now so far. But hey, teams that seem to be more prepared and took the offseason more serious, took the preseason serious, we're seeing that they're getting off to a better rhythm.
The Lakers trade worked out right now for Washington, but also I think the most pivotal signing in that is Spencer Dinwiddie. He's looking really good.
Okay. Yeah, I got to check them out, man.
Bradley Beal is Bradley Beal. You, of course, was talking about Steph Curry, who's doing his thing. You said it as well in the West. Steph is doing his thing. You got to watch out for the Warriors. Utah, who's 5-1 at the top right now. You got to watch out for those guys because that's a team that's played together for 3 to 4 years. That's the chemistry, right? And Mitchell is just feeling himself on a whole nother level. He got some Peter Parker shoes, so he's feeling pursuit non grata right now. Right now, we're just seeing a lot of things. I like what I see personally out of DeJounte Murray coming out of San Antonio, coming into his own.
I knew he was going to have a bounce back after that injury.
Yeah, I like what I'm seeing from him just on a personal level. I love what I see from, Ja Morant, guys out there, and I'm always fucking with Denver. Oh, my first F-bomb for the algorithm.
Yeah, Jokic just silently just putting up MVP numbers again.
I like the Smash Brothers, man. I like Gordon and I like MPJ. They're going to do their thing. MPJ is always a favorite of mine, guys.
Can we give a shout out to the early sixth man of the year, Carmelo Anthony?
Doing his thing, right? You got to give him a couple of these to the head every game because he's busting out threes at a high level.
He's shooting at a high clip.
Man, he's looking
like career-wise high clip.
When you're on a team like that and how he's implemented himself into the game, it's awesome, man. It is awesome over.
Definitely a bright spot. I mean, I guess we can get into us before we get into these.
Before we get into the Lakers, also, it's an extremely clear-cut rookie class. I've been talking about these guys. Jalen Suggs is doing his thing down here for the Magic. Second-year player Cole Anthony is doing his thing. These are guys who are alumni from the lowdown. Evan Mobley, of course, showed his ass against the Lakers in a homecoming game because he's from Southern California. Jalen Green is doing his thing with.
Jalen Green is going to be the best player in the league one day.
Oh my gosh, him and Josh Christopher and the other two rookies that the Houston Rockets picked up.
Let's talk about that real quick. So I'm watching the game last night. Jalen Green, Kevin Porter Jr.
Oh my gosh.
Kenyon Martin Jr.
Oh my God.
And Christian Wood.
Yes.
Let me tell you something. You give them boys 3-4 more seasons, they are going to be a problem, and they're going to be hell on the perimeter because they're athletic. So once they start buying into defense, which will be around that time frame, year 3 or 4, they long on that perimeter, Pauls. And Jalen Green, like I said, he is going to be the best player in this league one day.
Yes, and he's going to lead the league in scoring for many years. Many, many years. I've been talking about the Unicorn. He is an alumni from the lowdown. Also, oh man, I hit the mic, my bad. He's also an alumni from the lowdown. With that being said, he's a Pinoy, he's a Blasian. So shout out to Jalen Green. I just want to shout out the rookies that are doing their thing right now. Early season. Kamunga just made his appearance. Mm-hmm. So there's a couple guys out there doing shout out to LaMelo Ball, second year player.
Kate Cunningham made his appearance.
Kate Cunningham made his first appearance the other night, I think in a win.
I don't know if
against the Magic or somebody. I really don't follow Cade, but
you sent me something on IG. I wanted you to talk about this as well. When you said that, I think you said college basketball will never be the same or something like that. What happened in that article there?
Well, we have the NIL players now. High school players can sign in certain states, can sign contracts. NLI, I think it is. Not NIL, NLI. Correct me on that. That's for college players too. College players can sign endorsements now.
Okay.
So Mikey Williams, who's been a stud ever since his sophomore year, just a real big jet. He kind of did like the LaMelo Zion thing, but in his sophomore year, he was like a couple million followers. Now he's in his senior year. He played with Bronny 1 year out there on that tournament scene, that AAU scene. But he just signed a 5-year deal with Puma. But this is the thing. Before the NLI deal, you can go back and look at his IG. You knew Jit was getting money. This is the thing. Jit stats are kind of going down. He balls. He's a baller. He's a big kid, but
Okay.
he's one of those kids that, you held back on purpose. He's supposed to be in college right now, like a freshman, so they held him back to be a senior. You're just kind of seeing his game kind of, hit a plateau. But is he motivated? Now, because the motivation in high school and college was to get to the league to get the money. Now, if you're getting the money before you even get to college, are you really motivated to ball out anymore? Because now you're getting paid off of your clout. You have almost I think he has, let's take a look at Mikey Williams.
That is definitely, why you're looking up that is definitely something that I didn't even factor in all these years, talking about how, these kids need to get paid off their likeness. And I still do believe that. But I do think you're right that if it's not all the way in that kid, then he's going to be the what basketball can afford him type of person, which you always say, right? And that's why every generation in the league, there's always only a handful of players that we remember and we hold up to a regard, because these are the players that breathed and lived basketball. Everybody else just liked what basketball afforded them and that they could play it and they were really good at it. So
exactly.
That's a good point, man.
So we're looking at Mikey Williams right now.
Got 3.3 million followers already.
3.3 million followers, right? So 10 percentile of that transfer off into buyers, that's 330,000. The average internet order is $114. The average person spends $114 on the internet. You're buying a pair of his shoes. 330,000 people, you do the math. Right? And the kickback that he's getting on that. And then I knew Jip was getting money before this because he used to drive Lambos and stuff like that. So, like I said, now, is there in that incentive? Should I even go to college? I mean, before I even go to... There's got to be some kind of kickback in this shoe deal that he's got to do certain things to get to a certain point, right? But, I mean, I see a lot of college players. I see a lot of... to me, high school basketball is over because Dr. Phillips, who shout out to my homeboy Ben Witherspoon, Spoon Ticker, who coaches them, they just played the Overtime Elite League the other day.
Okay.
And the Overtime Elite League is foreign players, 4 and 5 star, high school senior, junior, sophomores. They put them together and they put a team together. So they're on the league and they're getting they're trained by NBA coaches and trainers, and they're getting paid. They're getting a salary of at least $150,000 a year. And they have the freedom to go sign with whoever shoe company they want. And they just got another endorsement the other day to help with their tutelage as far as their education. This is the way to go. We've always said this as far as Europeans were putting out pros in sports. If you're in soccer as far as, 12, 11 years old, Luka's been paying since 14, 15. And you see what he's done in the league. We have to catch up our sports, and we have to educate kids on things like these kids are getting educated in social media, financial education, how to invest, things of that nature. So when they get this bag, they're just not blowing it. But you're getting paid off your likeness now as well as your talent. So high school sports is over. It's only out there for the teeter-totter. There's some people who have to go to college, bro. Everybody's not an outlier. But now for the kid, Mikey Williams, in my opinion, who would have worked on his game so much more to get the bag, now that he's got the bag.
It's where is the incentive to work unless it's just in you?
Exactly, because we're looking
That's why you got to shout out the Ball brothers, man.
You have to, bro, because everything LeVar said was prophetic. Look up Amani Bates. You know who Amani Bates is?
I heard of him.
Amani Bates, a couple years ago, was on the front of Sports Illustrated, was supposed to be the next transcendent player like LeBron. Right? This kid was Kevin Durant-ish. He's 6'10", 6'11", right, in high school, whatever. But when you just start to see it, it's hold up, man. You're starting to see chinks in the armor. Is he just a big kid playing against smaller kids? Because when you put him up against Jalen Duren, who he went to college with in Memphis, who's a physical 6'10" kid, another one of those kids who was supposed to be in one grade but held back, you saw the chinks in the armor. Are these kids overrated? Because if that's what you're doing now, you're holding your kid back on purpose. So they're bigger than everybody else. They're really like a man playing with kids. And of course, is there that incentive anymore? You know what I mean? Are you that incentive to get better? Now, for those kids who are going to the G League, like Jalen Green, who we mentioned earlier, you're seeing it. Jonathan Kuminga, you're going to see these kids from the G League. But the Overtime League is yet to be said. We're going to see what that comes out. But there are options now, Twan. And with options being said, why even go to college when you can go to Australia, China?
Yeah.
Right? So high school sports is over. For basketball is a whole other beast. Only thing about high school football is you have to go to college. You just can't go straight to the NFL. You'll get killed. So with that, at least you can sell your jersey, and they brought back NCAA football for you guys.
Yeah.
A lot of you guys are getting great endorsements, soda commercials and things like that. But for basketball, get these jits straight when they're 14, 15. Start working on them. Get them into that pro state of mind. Turn them into entrepreneurs. I think we'll have a better league. High school sports is over.
There you go. And so we're going to get into the rankings, man. We're going to close it out with the power rankings. And I'm going to read each description of the power ranking as to why they did what they did. And should I go from top to bottom?
I say we do top 7.
How many are there?
There's all of them. We're number 10.
Yeah, we're just going to do 10 because we number 10.
Because we number 10.
All right, so number 10 coming in at number 10, 4 and 3. Previous ranking was actually number 8. I don't know why. Because that last win would have made us above 500. Los Angeles Lakers. Let the Melo Anthony for the 6th Man of the Year campaign begin. The 19-year gunner has scored 20 points or more off the bench 3 times so far this season. With LA going 3-0 in those games, in the third game against Houston, Anthony registered 4 blocks and 2 steals. All right, reaching that stat line for the first time since 2003. Quote, I didn't expect to see him have a defensive performance like he did tonight, Coach Frank Vogel. So they're really pretty much saying.
Let me tell you something, man. LeBron James should be called Professor Xavier. You're no longer Professor Xavier because he's a cerebral assassin. He sat out games and let Russ cook. He's letting Melo score and be the leading scorer on purpose to get these guys off. You guys are in trouble. Who's number 9, bro?
Number 9 is the Chicago Bulls, which I'm pretty surprised at because they're 5-1. But they just beat the Utah Jazz. It says an up and down week for the Bulls could go a long way towards proving that they can be a legit playoff team. After a win in Toronto to start the week, they bounced back from a close loss. At home against the Knicks to hand Jazz their first loss of the season. The Bulls will have already thin depth tested. Oh yeah, they lost Patrick Williams for the season.
Yes.
And then Levine playing through a thumb injury on his non-shooting hand, and more tests are on the way. So they basically are saying what you said, which is they've had a weak schedule.
They've had a very weak schedule. Still, kudos to these guys for coming out the gates and gelling early. Lonzo Ball is different. He's just different, guys. Patrick Williams is gonna have a breakout year this year. I was like, he was gonna get Most Improved Player of the Year votes. It's a big loss for those guys, but they'll pick up somebody in the buyout market. If I were them, I'd pick up Boogie Cousins.
All right. So we got Philly at 8. Previous ranking was 7. They're 4-2. It says Ben Simmons remains sidelined and Joel Embiid knee remains a concern. Still, Saturday dominant performance over Atlanta is a reminder that even without Simmons, Philly can be an imposing defensive team, and that Matisse Thybulle, who had 4 steals and 3 blocks, he's going to be definitely one of my favorite defenders. 23 minutes off the bench is a terror for opposing guards and wings.
He's a lock. With that being said, man, unhealthy Joel Embiid would still tear up the league, bro. I just want to see him work out. Joel Embiid is a problem. Tobias Harris is a shooter. Seth Curry is a shooter. I always, like Philly in the East.
Got you.
Who's 7?
7 is the New York Knicks. Previous ranking was 11. A perfect week has had the Knicks sitting in 4-way tie for the best record in the Eastern Conference Finals. A pair of strong games by Kemba Walker against Philly and Chicago were also a reminder of the impact he can have in his timeshare at the point guard alongside Derrick Rose, a duo that's playing out exactly as the Knicks hope. So it's not really given why they're putting them there.
Derrick Rose and Kemba, they got 2 good knees, so that's a good thing that they're working it out. The rotation is working. But something that disturbs me is I saw the game the other night they played against Chicago. Mm-hmm. They were up like 102 to 90 or something like that, like 3 minutes left. And they won the game 104 to 103. So they went on this non-scoring streak of over like 3 minutes. Mm-hmm. That disturbs me, guys. Thibodeau, offense, baby. And I don't care about.
All right, so number 6 is Denver. Their previous ranking was number 3 at 4-2. Season came to a halt when Jokic was writhing in pain, holding his right knee after knocking knees with Gobert on Tuesday in Utah. Fortunately for the Nuggets, Jokic had nothing more than a bruised knee that cost him no more than the second half against the Utah Jazz. That led to a 122-110 loss. Jokic returned to action Friday against Dallas and got the Nuggets to turn a 2-game slide into what now is a 2-game win streak. Denver is 4-2 despite Jamal Murray's absence and Michael Porter Jr. shooting 33% from the field.
He's gonna get it, man. He's gonna get it right. You know what I'm saying? He got the bag. He's coming off of that. Never sleep on Michael Porter Jr. I call him the light skinned KD. I like Aaron Gordon selling into his role. Jokic's gonna be there. Jamal Murray will come back at the towards the middle of the season. You say? Mm-hmm. They'll be all right. They got a great coach.
Now, see, this right here is weird. The Bucks are ranked 5th.
Yes.
They're 3-4.
Suck.
Their previous ranking was 1, which I don't know how because they haven't got off to a good start.
They just beat
right?
the Nets.
The Bucks are missing significant firepower on offense, which has contributed to their early struggle. See, this here is them basically saying we're putting them at 5 based on what we know they're going to do. I don't think that's fair because I think the power ranking should be about what it is right now. Which contributed to their early season struggles and a 3-game losing streak to close the week. Drew Holiday ankle, Brook Lopez back, with both sidelined all week. Along with Holiday has started practicing again while Chris Middleton missed Sunday's game with an illness. It left Antetokounmpo carrying a heavy workload early on while their rotation is depleted. I still don't think there should be 5.
Between those guys, man, they're going to suffer from the same thing the Lakers did in a shortened offseason in the championship hangover, like you said, the high over. I look for them to go down, and what I meant and what I said when I meant it, every time we see the Phoenix Suns, it's on sight.
All right, so number 4, Golden State Warriors. Previous ranking was 5. They're 5-1. Said the Warriors finally dropped their first game of the season Thursday to Ja Morant and the Grizzlies, but everything is looking up for the veteran team on the rise. They have 6 straight home games. They have 6 straight games at home over the next 2 weeks as they continue to see former All-Star Klay Thompson inching closely to return. Steve Kerr and his staff are feeling good about the direction of the first month. Brooklyn, this is another weird one to me. Brooklyn is number 3.
Oh, hold up. I didn't get my speak on Golden State.
Go ahead.
I really ain't got nothing to say about Golden State. Okay.
This is a weird one to me. Brooklyn at 4-3, previous ranking 4. They're number 3. It says it's only 7 games, but James Harden is currently averaging fewer points per game, 18.7, than he has since he was a backup in OKC a decade ago, and he's currently shooting what would be a career worst 39.8% from the field. James Harden's past 2 games, however, against Indiana, 29-8-8, and Detroit, 18-10-12, were steps in the right direction. You're still not explaining why you're putting Brooklyn number 3.
Again, it may be just off of the potential that they have and what they could do. Their record definitely does not reflect the ranking.
Well, we got the last 2 here. Heat jumped up a few spots from number 6 to number 2 at 5-1. The Heat went 4-0. We just said this earlier with Jimmy Butler being the player of the week, and it pretty much says the same thing, that they went 4-0 over the week and looked like the type of Eastern Conference front runner that appeared before the season started. Jimmy Butler is averaging 25.3 points a game so far, and a major reason why Miami plays with such an edge. All right,
Miami looking good. We talked about that earlier.
All right, number 1 in the league right now for the power rankings of week 2. Previously, number 2 is Utah Jazz at number 1. They sit 5-1. Utah is the league's last undefeated team before losing to the Bulls on Saturday night when point guard Michael Conley rested as a precaution on front end back-to-backs. Okay. So they're basically contributing the Bulls' win to Michael Conley not being in there. The Jazz 5-1 record is the franchise best start since 08-09. Rudy Gobert became the first player in NBA history to record at least 16 points and 14 rebounds in each of his first 5 games of the season.
I think we were talking noise about Rudy Gobert when we guested on this podcast a couple weeks ago.
Well, because it just doesn't translate to the playoffs. Again, Utah, they're going to be there and all that other thing. But at the end of the day, nobody is going to be scared of them for 7 games in a series unless you just don't have a player that's just as good or better than Donovan Mitchell.
I just got a text message from D Wade. He told me to tell you when he see you, it's on site.
He goes, okay. That's the rankings. We're gonna close it out with our squad. Obviously, like we said, Carmelo has been a bright spot for us. The other night, Vogel said that he wanted to experiment with 80 at the 5. I thought that's what we was doing coming into the season. But anyway, the lineup, because we went with Houston, AD started at 5. Avery Bradley started. We had 32 points off turnovers, so we turned them over early. We got up as much as 28 points. But here's the problem. We can't get no stops, man. Them boys came back from 20 twice. They had a 21-4 run, and then we got it back up to 20, and then they went on another run as well. Then we ended up winning the game by 10.
Garbage time.
But we can't get stops. We cannot get stops. This is not a Russell Westbrook thing, because Russell Westbrook only had 2 turnovers. We cannot get consistent stops, man. And when Ariza comes back and Kendrick Nunn comes back and THT, guys that can defend on the perimeter. Nah, Ellington.
You can't defend, but we need to still.
But guys that can defend on the perimeter, I do think our defense will be much better. We'll get those stops that we need. But, man, right now, man, we're just not getting those stops, man.
Exactly. So a lot of players are playing out of position, of course, and forced to do things they're not supposed to do, and where it's experimental with lineups. If we had the players that you just named available, I think it would be more dispensable for 80 to start at the 5 at that point. Right now, it's just kind of what we got, because we ain't employed DJ to be no starter. I don't care what nobody says.
No, I mean, and Vogel even said the other night when 80 starts at 5, then, one center would be the backup, the other one would be scrap, but that's for them to figure out. 80 is starting off the season how I wanted him to start it off. All right, he's playing really well. One of my concerns the other night, and this is attributed to an older team, is our free throw attempts. 80 didn't have his first free throw attempt to the 4th. LeBron only had like 5. So, again, outside of a Russell Westbrook who could just, LeBron's not really going to the cup a lot this year. And, I call it old man game. If you look at LeBron is 1-16 in his last 2 games from 3. When has the last time LeBron James put up 16 threes in 2 games?
Yeah, you shoot more threes now.
That's an old man game.
Of course.
That old man. That old man game. I'll put you in the post, and then I'm going to shoot. Every now and then I'll give you an explosion like he did the other night with the, you know what I'm saying? But he ain't starting from the top of the key and moving you out the way anymore. So, again, these are things that, it's crazy because our injuries are to our young guys. Malik Monk was injured. Kendrick Young's injured. THT injured. Obviously Ariza's out. But it's not really to our older guys. But those young legs, those guys are going to have to be aggressive throughout the season so we can get to the line because...
I love what Monk's doing, bro. I love what Monk's doing. He needs to play more. We'll get our defensive shifts and everything down. Like when I said, when these guys start to working in, we'll be all right.
Don't sleep on Vogel's defense. I will say that. I don't know about him do rotations. And even when he was like, we just wanted to experiment. I'm like, experiment? I thought that's what we were doing.
It was LeBron at the 4 and him.
It was weird. It was weird. It was like, okay. And but he's loving him some Austin Reeves. But Austin Reeves is another one that he's always plus. But you see it, though. He don't just come in like Caruso used to do and just swing the ball. He come in and he looks to do something.
He does.
He looks to do something. So you can be plus minus if you're not going to take any risk and you out there and LeBron and AD's out there and you're up 20. Of course you're going to be plus 20 in the plus minus. You know what I'm saying? But are you the reason for the 20? Did you get that steal that led to the layup? Did you shoot that corner 3? Did you break them, off the and went to the free throw line? So I definitely see a lot more aggression in Austin Reeves earlier on than when I seen in Caruso earlier on when he was on our team. I honestly think Caruso's confidence is just hitting where it needs to hit this year on another team.
It is.
Caruso should have been averaging 10 points off the bench for the last 2 seasons.
I was just checking again on that that Austin Reeves thing. I think his dad is Brian Reeves.
Okay, Big Country. Shout out to Big Country, man. Shout out to Big Country. But yeah, man. So that's just pretty much my week 2 rundown. Did we miss anything as far as what's going on in the basketball world? I did want to say I did read that TNT has moved NBA Thursday night to Tuesday nights to not compete with Thursday night football. So until Thursday night football is off, Chuck and the boys, Inside Crew, will be on Tuesday. Also, speaking of the Inside Crew, definitely want to send out our condolences to Ernie Johnson and his family. They just lost their 33-year-old son who was dealing with a muscular dystrophy. Guys probably seen specials and things like that over the years inside the NBA about Ernie and his son. So, we definitely want to send shout outs to him. I'm pretty sure they're going to do something special for him tomorrow night on the show. And you got anything you want to add?
Nothing but keep winning, LA. People out there, we see you, we hear you, we appreciate you. Thank you for subscribing to Fans of the Game. Matter of fact, stop what you're doing right now and subscribe.
Hit that bell for all notifications. Fans Know the Game 2 Facebook page as well. It's a Facebook group.
It's all over.
Catch us there. I'm always posting the highlights from the games and, stuff like that. And, we'll get in the game threads as well. And we'll do it like that. So with that being said, family, we thank y'all for tuning in. We appreciate y'all. And as we always say on this channel, peace.